Hello, sports enthusiasts, fans, and pundits. Welcome to Souq Sports. It is midweek, and the Champions League seems to be the biggest stories making the round. And of course, in the next 45 minutes, we'll let you know how that played out, games to be played, and of course, the show will take you around the world of sports. I am the top cat, Tici Barrah, and with me is none other than Charlie Montero.
Right, guys, it's a good time to talk about sports. It's a good day to talk about the Champions League, talk about everything that is going on in NPFL. So let's get the show on the road.
Oh, where's the energy at, Charles? I think we need to pump you up just a little bit. But then first, got to start off with the NPFL, where the board has made changes to March Day 3 fixtures. Now, the current release, which was signed by the NPFL Chief Operating Officer Davidson Owumi and sent to concerned state football associations, we have 3 matches that have been rescheduled to take place on Sunday, the 22nd of September. Now, these matches will feature Sunshine Stars playing host to Abia Warriors at the Deepwood Dino, that's the International Stadium in Ijebu. And then the same as Sugida side, Kano Pillars will be welcoming league leaders Remo Stars at the Mohammed Diko Stadium in Katsina. Defending champions Flying Antelopes Enugu Rangers will face off against Bayelsa United this time around at the Cathedral Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu. Now, 3 out of the remaining 7 fixtures of Match Day 3, scheduled for Wednesday, October the 2nd, will be broadcast live. We've been talking about it here, and so football fans will have the opportunity to watch the matches from the comfort of their homes. Now, these games will include the clash between Kwara United and Ikorodu City, and that's at the Kwara Sports Complex in Ilorin. That face-off between Nasarawa United and Lafia Township Stadium, Lafia, and the fixture involving Plateau United and El Kanemi Warriors, which will happen at the Jos International Stadium in Jos. Let's hold it there. Guy, you've been talking about showing these games live. You've been talking about, I mean, you're so, you're like a crusader for live matches.
Live matches, I mean.
But now we have 3. What do you make out of that?
Well, it's a step in the right direction because now we can afford to see these guys, get familiar with them because not everyone can afford to go to the stadium and see them live. Now we can sit in the comfort of our homes and see our players, see the stars, watch their progress, and get to talk about it just the same way we talk about the EPL, the way we talk about Spanish, the Bundesliga, just get familiar with these guys, watch their progress and see how the things go, watch the progress of teams, teams that you want to follow throughout the season and, get to be familiar with what's going on and know the NPFL. Because when you talk about the NPFL, not everybody can, discuss about the NPFL. Even when you sit down among your friends, not everybody can say, okay, this is, or say, let me just bring it down to everybody and say, name 10 players in a particular club. And you can't because there is no relationship except for the ones that, that are close in proximity with us, say, Ikorodu FC or the one that is on the island here. So I think it makes sense. It makes sense.
Well, the other 4 fixtures will witness Bendel Insurance and Shooting Stars reigniting their age-long rivalry. That's been a long time, and it will be going down at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City. Heartland Football Club will be hosting Katsina United this time around at the Dananyam Stadium in Owerri, and Lobi Stars will entertain Rivers United at the Lafia Township Stadium in Lafia. Enyimba will entertain Neighbours. It's a bit of a southern derby there when they take on the Promise Keepers in Aba. And so those are some of the fixtures you should be looking out for in the NPFL. But there we bring you up to speed with some news making the rounds from the Nigerian scene as Izuogu Chibueze has secured a move, and this time it's to Moldovan side, CSF Spartanii, and it's on a season-long loan from the NPFL side, Enyimba. Chibueze's transfer was officially announced by Enyimba on their X page, and his impressive performance during the 2023-2024 season with Enyimba, where he scored a goal, is believed to have contributed to his opportunity to join CSF Spartanii. So a lot of moves we've been seeing from Enyimba players, even from, the female team and all that. And I mean, Kano-led Enyimba seems to be paving way, if I use the word, for a lot of other frontiers and stuff like that. But still keeping with Enyimba, Leronwaju Yemi, who is the head coach, is focused on guiding the team to victory. That's what he says. And that's in their upcoming match against Etoile Filante of Burkina Faso. The Enyimba team who managed the goalless draw in the first leg of the CAF Confederation Cup second preliminary round contest, are also preparing to host the opponent at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium. That is going to be on the 22nd of September in Uyo, the Nest of Champions. So ahead of the game, Olarinwaju is emphasizing the importance of continuing to work hard and stay focused, and has acknowledged the upcoming match will be a crucial test for the team. Do you think he has a lot of pressure? I mean, as a young coach, I didn't want to use that, but I have to.
Well, we always give expectations for coaches, especially when they, come from success, from where they are coming from. So I think, he has a lot to prove. He has a lot of learning to do as well. So I just feel like we should give him time, regardless of the pressure. He's going to perform within his capacity at the end of the day. So we should just give him room to improve. Get to pick up the points as he goes along the way, pick up the experiences as well. Get to know these boys and move up the ladder. There's a lot of pressure. Enyimba is a big club. Let's. That's
what I'm saying.
So the pressure will be there. Necessary, just like we talk about the Manchester United and all. The pressure will be there.
Here's how I think about it, right? In the long run now, what now happens to Olarinwaju? I mean, if he's been there, done that, he's at the biggest stage. He's Fidelis Electric is in charge of Rangers. You now have his former boss in Rivers United. You have Emmanuel Amunike in Heartland. You have Daniel Gumondede. What's that, Remo? I think Daniel is at Remo, right? So these are people who, big names. I'm going to have to compel Olarinwaju to, I don't know if you can remember the former assistant coach for Sporting Lagos who we've talked to on this platform, talking about...
his name is skipping my mind, right?
Yeah, but then he's on that level, assistant coach kind of level, So not to take anything away from him. Okay, Green, it was Green, Edward Green. Not to take anything away from him. Olarinwaju has gone into the first fixture or the first leg goalless at Toyo Filante. Do you think he has what it takes to get the results? I mean, that's where I am now.
Well, it's a good start going away and getting a result. Let's see how it goes, in the return leg, playing at home. But I feel like it should give them a morale boost. As to going there and performing, showing what they can do. I mean, the players now. And it also speaks to the coach, the mentality of the coach. Playing assistant role and now managing a club full time. You remember a certain Arteta, coming out from the shadows of Pep Guardiola and showing his power.
That example will always be right.
Yeah, so I think we just need to give him time. We should back him. I mean, the Enyimba fans can back him up, and with time he'll show what he's capable of.
Well, let's move on and let you know that Nasarawa United head coach Kabiru Dogo has raised concerns about the performance of match officials during the team's recent goalless draw against Niger Tornadoes. It's not the first time anybody's talking about, coaches, I beg your pardon, referees, assistant referees, stuff like that, because we do not have the VR, we do not have the goal line technology, and of course we've talked about live matches not showing on TV. Some of those things contribute. Some persons, like what Dogo is saying here, that only the referee can explain why the goal was cancelled, right? And he said the referee was the person closest to the ball. So if you had live games, live recordings, you could do replays. Well, even these teams are not even helping themselves. They should have someone, different angles.
Yes, an analyst,
covering the game, doing a video of the game, not necessarily for broadcast.
So they can make a case out of it.
Exactly. Right. So when you're doing your reviews, instead of you to come and blatantly say, I'm not sure.
You come with evidence.
Yes. You're able to say, oh, watch here. From this angle, he made an error. And you can foul.
I mean, we have seen in the Western world and in Europe that technology plays a major part in sports. I mean, I think it's high time we start
because of the human deficiency.
It's high time we start to implement technology in our own sports down here, in our local leagues, and brew these players to embrace technology in everything that they do, so that it can help the development of our sports, help the development of our league as well, because we cannot keep talking and worrying about all these deficiencies in human errors and all that. It dampens the performances of the players. They go out there and give their all, and at the end of the day, one error would tarnish everything or will set them back. But I think it's time for us to start implementing technology using the VAR. It's something that we can achieve. I mean, but kudos to them. We are starting to see live matches on our TV screen, so we feel like that is a step in the right direction, and with time we'll get there. We'll get there really.
Well, the National Youth Games is still ongoing in the South, and of course, we promise that we're going to bring you up to speed with a completion of all of the games right here on Souq Sports. So we're going to leave the shores of Nigeria, the continent of Africa, and of course, pitch tent in Europe, where the league campaign officially started on Tuesday evening with 6 mouth-watering games across Europe. I mean, I had to water my mouth, you know what I'm saying? So, Champions League games played on the first day in the March week 1 all ended in emphatic victories for the teams that won. So, the biggest and the most historic victory was recorded in the game between German Bundesliga giants, talking about Bayern Munich and Dinamo Zagreb. 9-2. They became the first club in the history of UEFA Champions League to score 9 goals in a single game.
It's mind-blowing.
Damn.
Because I remember watching that game yesterday, and once the Zagreb...
You know, this kind of thing is what they say, Dynamo collect woto.
But in the first half, it was a biased game. The second, towards the end, they scored 2 quick goals, and they kind of pinch themselves and say, we have to show that. And in the space of how many? They scored 6 goals. Man.
And now the standing victory on Tuesday night happened at the San Siro. Premier League side Liverpool were stunned by 1-0 defeat at Anfield when Nottingham Forest decided to take them into the forest and lock them down alone. They walked alone into the forest. They bounced back to winning ways by defeating AC Milan 3-1 away from home. Some of the scores are on the screen at the moment in the game between the reigning Champions League winners, Real Madrid and VfB Stuttgart. French striker Kylian Mbappe scored his first UEFA Champions League goal for the Spanish Giants as Madrid beat their visitors 3-1. Now, we also saw some other score lines, very interesting coming in. Young Boys at home lost to Aston Villa, and of course we saw Real Madrid beat Stuttgart. I'm sure you must have expected that one to pan out that way.
Exactly, because these are the reigning champions. They need to start their campaign with a statement, and it wasn't really the statement win that we would expect, because it was more or less like it was an even match. Stuttgart came out and played them. At a certain point, I was scared that Real Madrid were going to lose the game because the intensity was highly in the favor of Stuttgart, but Real Madrid being the team, clutch moments matters a lot. The big players, they took advantage of the opportunities that they got, and came out with the desired win.
Liverpool AC Milan. I would have hoped that Liverpool AC Milan would have put up a stronger, a fiercer contest.
It was one of the underwhelming performances, I would say, in yesterday's fixtures, because AC Milan would I remember, especially in the Champions League, they come out and they play. Especially being at the San Siro. You're not supposed to play like a scared cat. When they scored that first goal, I was like, okay, we'll have a contest here. And after then, they disappeared. The defenders were all over the place. Salah was running riots. I mean, the front three of Liverpool were dominating in both boxes. They were playing half the field against an AC Milan team that we saw, take the league by storm last season. Well, it's a contrast when you compare it to Bayern Munich game, because it was just running riot. Liverpool really came out of the forest and they were clearing
everywhere. Everywhere from the forest to San Siro with pride, and they didn't walk alone. Well, let's take a look at some of the games tonight. Bologna against Shakhtar Donetsk, that's at 5 p.m. Sparta Praha, they're taking on RB Salzburg at 5 p.m. PSG Girona, it's 8 later on tonight. Club Brugge will play host to Borussia Dortmund at 8. Celta Vigo taking on Slovan Bratislava at 8. Manchester City and Inter. I think that will be the biggest game.
That will be the highlight of tonight.
So from England to Italy.
Well, it's just a replay of the 2022 finals, and we can see that Inter they are an equal match now for Man City. Although they have been because the style of play is different. The new coach has come in and the style of play has changed in the past year. But we see that Man City is a force to reckon with, especially both in the EPL and in everywhere around the world. We can easily say that Man City is one of the best, or even not the best team when it comes to playing football and playing the tiki-taka or a beautiful football that we all love to see. So it's going to be one for the screens really, and I expect Man City to come out victorious, just giving them the home advantage. Giving them the home advantage.
All right, Thursday 19th, we still have games because, of course, the UEFA Champions League format has changed. It's going to be a league format, not just group stages. And so Savannah Zvezda will take on Benfica. You'd also have Feyenoord taking on Bayer Leverkusen. Atlanta will play host to Arsenal. Atletico Madrid against Leipzig. Brest will take Sturm Graz and Monaco, Barcelona. Atlanta, Arsenal. Ademola Lookman, Golden Boy.
Yeah.
Ballon d'Or nominee. Finest player right now on African stage. Dude, what's going on? Do you think that Arsenal stand a chance? Considering all of the issues they had, especially going into the game against Tottenham Hotspur over the weekend.
But the fact that they were able to overcome Tottenham Hotspur gives us, like, say, a bright side.
Against the mobile Atlanta?
Well, Atlanta is a big team. Without disrespect to any of the players, but I still feel that Arsenal is complete in all departments, starting from the forward. We can say, okay, yeah,
that's not what you said though when we are talking about comparing them to Chelsea.
No, Chelsea, come on, Chelsea is nothing compared to Arsenal.
That's not what you said when we talked about Chelsea and Arsenal.
But then I would say
Chelsea has a lot of players.
They do have a lot of
quality.
Well, you can make arguments. You're saying that some have shipped from Chelsea to Arsenal, and now we can say Arsenal boast of one of the best defense in European football right now.
Yeah.
So I would say Arsenal all the way. I mean, Ademola Lookman is a shining star in Atlanta, but his Nigerian blood will not be.
That's the reason for this conversation.
Exactly.
So where will your sentiment lie?
Well, I just say I would want him to score, but I don't see Atlanta at the moment dropping Arsenal. Okay, just give them the home advantage. Yeah, they would want to put up a show for their fans, but Arsenal, come on, it's Arsenal. They proved themselves over time. So yeah, I give it to Arsenal.
Red Star Belgrade will take on Benfica tomorrow as well. We'll see Monaco and Barcelona. Is that like a very...
Well, Monaco at home is a force to reckon with, regardless of the form.
French side. But then they say all French teams are... I didn't say it.
Really, Monaco in Champions League, they come up and they show up to the event. But Barcelona is a team on form, with new coach and new ideologies and new strategies, to topple their opponents. But it's still Barcelona. We remember Barcelona for the last...
I don't remember. I don't know what you say.
The last 5 years they've been...
Okay, but then there's not been that consistency.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
After they lost some of the finest players they had, it's not been consistent.
It's the rebuilding process, and every team goes through that rebuilding process. But we can see that they have a master tactician in Hansi Flick, building up these players. I can see Ansu Fati. Lamine Yamal is now building muscles. I mean, for his age, he's really one muscular player. So I think he's building these players, and they will show us what they can do tomorrow. It's their first outing for them in the Champions League. Most of them coming from the youth and the academy side. So we'll see how much these players want to be here and how much they want to show the world that they have. Been making some interesting signings in Dani Olmo, and he's shining light, even though he has injury doubts. But Barcelona should take this one.
Well, earlier, there's going to be a fixture between Feyenoord and Bayer Leverkusen. So some of the fixtures in the League Cup. But then, just before we take a break, let's talk quickly about this new format. How do you perceive it? Draining for me, really. I mean, we can get done with this, do the group, you have to qualify, and then we just move on. It's going to be longer.
It's a long process. I mean, it's a lot of teams.
But then, do you think it favors the team a lot more? I mean,
given that there is no home and away matches, I think it does. It does, but then it's a longer format. It encroaches on the normal, timetable that we are used to. The season now has been turned on its head, and everything is scattered. We see if.
But you get to play more matches.
They do get to, especially those that are playing, Club World Cup as well. FIFA and UEFA are just bulking up the games for this, and they still have to play for the national side. So it's a lot of games.
What's the financial, benefits or implication? I think for logistics purposes, you spend more.
Spend more. Yeah.
Does the prize money increase? Do people benefit more from having longer fixtures?
But I think, yeah, it does, because now you're having heavyweights playing against each other rather. So there's this tendency of fans coming out to watch these games. When you have fans coming out to watch, that means more ticket sales, that means more viewership, that means, for pay-per-view goes up as well. So a lot of revenue is being made. Talk about
and linkages, the different people benefiting from it and all.
Talk about also the domestic leagues as well. So a lot of revenue comes in. So yeah, the money would also increase.
All right, we'll take a moment now, and when we return, we'll talk about tennis. We'll talk, all the sports, and bring you sports business in tennis. We'll just scratch the surface just a little bit. So stay right here. It's Souq Sports and Souq News Television. My name is Tici Barrah. I wanted to call myself the top cat. Yes, I am. I'll be back in a bit with my pack. Glad to know you all the other end of the screen watching every bit of what we're putting out here for you. Yes, it's Souq Sports. If you're a lover of sports, draw closer, turn the volume up as we get into tennis. It's a ping-pong affair as Heather Watson is out of the Korea Open following a straight set defeat by Ukraine's Marta Kostyuk, and that went down in Seoul. The 32-year-old qualifier, who is ranked 183rd in the world, lost 6-2, 6-2 in the second round. World number 18, Kostyuk, who is also 22, will meet Russian Diana Sinaida, who's 20, in the quarterfinals after sealing a straightforward victory. Watson, who last month failed to qualify for the US Open main draw, responded immediately after losing her serve in her opening game, but then Kostyuk won 5 of the next 6 games to take the opening set. The Briton, whose opening victory over China's Jia Jinliu was only her 3rd main draw in the season, could not mount as much as a fight back as Kostyuk broke in the second set, raising to victory with a double break. Well, it's just been crazy, the fact that some of the big sporting, the tennis games have just been, but then to also see that you can keep up with some of the sporting activities to keep the body, soul, and spirit together is encouraging, really, Not much happening in the world of tennis, just expecting that some of these other smaller fixtures would improve on the rankings. But then Heather Watson, what do you make out of it?
Well, she has showed incredible fighting spirit, I would say, and she has pushed herself out there. But she couldn't just go all the way. She couldn't just go all the way. At some point, you have to take time out. You have to break. But I think there's a comeback for her. Every story has a comeback. So yeah.
Well, Enyimba Raducanu earned a hard-fought win in a tough match against Peyton Stearns in the first round of the Korea Open in Seoul. She's currently 70 in the world. She was playing her first match since her first round US Open exit. She emerged victorious 7-6, 7-4, 7-6, 7-5. And that was against a 48-ranked American opponent after 2 hours and 43 minutes. Raducanu started strongly by breaking Stearns in the opening game. And despite losing in the next game of her serve, she also broke her game, leading to a 2-1. It was a sign for things to come as there were 8 breaks of serve in that fluctuating first set. Raducanu eventually won on tiebreak after 74 minutes. Now, both players saved break points in the second set before Raducanu took one to lead 5-3. However, in keeping with the match, she was broken when serving for the match, while Stern almost, then she failed to hold her own serve when they were 6-5 up. The match went to another tiebreak, which Raducanu won to secure victory after a second set, which lasted 89 minutes. So Raducanu will play China's Yu Yuan, who is 40, and that's in the next round. And she's 40 in the world rankings at the moment. And so going into the next round, we hope that she's going to be able to hold her own end. Yeah. Talking about Enyimba Raducanu. So a lot of times, there's been talks about the Commonwealth losing its
or essence.
Kind of. Do we still have Commonwealth countries? Is it a thing?
It's a thing because you can say that, identify as a one-time colonizer or being colonized by the British. Yeah. You will still say Commonwealth.
Well, the last time, Glasgow was in the contention to stage and host the Commonwealth Games, there was something that happened. A drama ensued. Now, in a bid to go see that through, the team called on the services of 007, and that was former James Bond actor Sir Sean Connery.
Iconic.
And then very iconic, very, very iconic, I must add. Nice one, Charlie. But then, what did he do? He didn't pull out his gun. No. He didn't pull out, he pulled out his pen, exploding pen, and wrote personal letters to each of the Commonwealth Games Federation delegates to explain why they should pick Scotland's largest city over Abuja, Nigeria.
I know why he picked this sport, because it hurts Nigeria.
So he was joined by another knight of the realm, talking about Sir Steve Redgrave, the first British athlete to win 5 Olympic golds in backing the bid for Glasgow. So in total, more than 1.5 million people signed up to commit their support to hosting the 2014 Games, at that time when Abuja, Nigeria was scheduled to do the honors. So securing the 2026 Games has not required such a very, high profile campaign, no imploding pens, no night of St. Mulumba or St. John's, right?
No robbing Nigeria.
No robbing Nigeria, my brother. So Glasgow has not had to, turn on the charm. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Instead, it has had to convince itself on the merits of being host. So the 2026 edition was supposed to be staged in Victoria at Birmingham's 2022's closing ceremony. 4, elders from Australian state were handed the flag as the next host. Securing the 2026 Games has not also required a high-profile campaign. So Glasgow has not had a turn on that charm. It's not been very difficult, for them to get to do that. So the budget for the Games had rocketed. State Premier Daniel Andrew said that for all the loss of face, he did not have to think long about cancelling on the Commonwealth Games. But then Dame Laura, who is a former Commonwealth athlete, a former Olympian, she is insisting that somehow, the Commonwealth Games have to go on. Yeah. So the Scottish city was named official host. Like I mentioned, Australia's state of Victoria withdrew due to rising cost, but a number of events may not take place at the Glasgow events, right? And that's in a bid to just manage to see if they can host the events at all. They say, Naim bad pa. Come on, bro. At all, Naim
bad pa.
So, talking about Great Britain's most decorated female Olympian, she said that unless cities make a big effort to host the events in their entirety, the long-term future of the Commonwealth Games is at risk. And so they just plan to host few sports, even if it's 10. It might not be clear which sports will be the court, but Kenny, who won the Commonwealth track cycling gold in 2014 and 2022, said there should be focus on prioritizing sports that are not included at the Olympics. I don't know what you make out of that.
I think inflation is affecting everything. Yeah. The rising cost of living, regardless of where we are in our climate, it's a global thing. It's a global worry, and it's just pointing out.
They should have just brought it back to Nigeria.
They should. We carry it. But what I'm saying, they should have decentralized it. Glasgow, can.
What they actually do is a city has to take responsibility
for the whole.
Yes.
But then times are changing. Things are hard. Times are hard. But then they can, decentralize the hosting and give it to some cities. Host this game. Game. To just in a bit to just share, responsibilities and allow these athletes come out and showcase their talent, because they are, in some extent, they are depriving some athletes from doing what they love to do, regardless of an opportunity for some rising talent, I would say. Well, we cannot really put our hand in their pocket and drag this money out. But we can just say that. But I think it's gradually phasing out. But I think I'm with Kenny as well, who said that they can host games that are not in the Olympics, just giving podium or giving a platform for other athletes that, like I say, maybe darts. That I know that there's no darts game in the Olympics. For these athletes, there isn't. There isn't.
You Google that?
Yeah, there isn't. I don't think there's a darts there's a Dutch game.
Well, subject to verification.
Yeah, all right. You heard me. So yeah. So I just think it's a platform for new games. It's a platform for new stars. I mean, we should keep creating stars. And the game is beautiful. So let's keep making beauty.
Well, Roma, we here have sacked manager Daniele De Rossi, and that's just 4 matches into the new Serie A season. He was hired, to replace Jose Mourinho as the Stadio Olimpico in January. But he's not been able to win any of their Serie A matches this season. He has drawn 3 and lost at home to Empoli last month. Roma are currently 16th in the Serie A standings, and that's after a 1-1 draw at Genoa on Sunday. His tenure at Roma started superbly. In his first 11 league matches, Roma lost just 1, picking up 26 points from a possible 33, and that run took Roma from 9th to 5th on the table. They also reached the semi-finals of the Europa League, knocked out by Bundesliga champion Bayern Leverkusen. They had a 6th place finish last season, saw them qualify again for this season's Europa League. Among Roma's fixture in Europe this season are a trip to Tottenham on the 28th of November. And of course, there's just been a lot going on with them. They signed top goal scorer from the La Liga, Artem Dovbyk, from Girona, as well as experienced German centre-back Mats Hummels on a free transfer. There's also been a number of exits, We had from Manchester United centre-back Chris Smalling leave for Saudi Pro League side Al Fire, and former Chelsea striker Tammy Abraham joining AC Milan on loan, and then Romelu Lukaku who spent last season.
To come there.
Yeah, he joined Napoli.
Yeah.
You also have Andrea Bellotti, Rui Patricio, and Leonardo Spinazzola. They've all departed in recent months. So De Rossi, all blame seems to be on him right now. As a player, he spent 22 years with Roma as well, between 1997 and 2019, and made, I think, about 616 appearances for them. I was also a very integral part of the Italy's 2006 World Cup winning side. So I don't know what you make out of.
I think it's a shame, really, because you're brought in this guy to replace Mourinho. He has 7 months, or he has been there for 7 months.
Yeah.
And in that 7 months, he has lost major key players. He has lost Lukaku and, the names that were mentioned above. They have not given him, high-profile signings. No coming-ins or no signings. Just exits. And you expect him to perform magic. Now, you have not given him time to drill these boys that you have virtually promoted from the academy to save cost. You just sacked him. So where's the way forward? I feel like he was hard done by. He was hard done by because he's a young manager, obviously. He's a legend in the club. And he's just starting out his career as a coach. I was also skeptical about his appointment when he came in. But then he proved us wrong. The players were playing for him. He had Tammy Abraham, you had Lukaku. You had these stars, playing to prove something, of which they did. But then this is a new season. This is a new campaign. 4 games into the new campaign and you're sacking the manager. Where do you want to go from there? I have
to get back to Mourinho now. I know he's free at the moment.
No, Mourinho is far gone. I think he's in Fenerbahce now, enjoying life.
Oh.
Yeah, so where they go from here, I wonder, but it's left to see. But I feel like he was hard done by. Letting him go was a bad decision, but then his money moves for them. His money moves for them.
Well, done with some transfers there. Let's take a look at the money part of the whole conversation. As pay television operator Canal Plus has struck a late rights deal with ORF, which is Austria's public service broadcaster, and that's ahead of his debut coverage of the UEFA club competitions in the country. So as the UEFA Champions League, you're talking about, expansion.
Yeah.
It's expanding on different frontiers. We're seeing, different countries and organizations take advantage to broadcast within their locality and make money from that. FIFA has taken media rights for the 2026 FIFA World Cup to market in Cambodia, Taiwan, and Vietnam. And that is continuing in its house sale of rights in the Asia Pacific region. And so we're seeing a lot of development in the sporting sector where some of these sport rights are broken into compartments.
Yeah.
Compartmentalized. Oh, this word is so difficult. But then you grab the word.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's broken into different compartments, and sold in fractions.
Yeah.
And so you come to Nigeria and you say, instead of just doing a West African block, we could pick out the Nigerian market and just sell in block like that. And I mean, doing that, FIFA, I'm sure they're generating a lot of revenue from it. Well, the Scottish government has finally backed the proposal for the Commonwealth Games to return to Glasgow. We talked about it. And the Commonwealth Games Federation claimed the event to be an important first step to reset and reframe the ethos of the games. I mean, if you don't have money, do what?
Hide your face.
I thought you were going to hide.
Nah.
MotoGP hire of its first ever managing director of global marketing has been more than a year in the making and is being seen as a major landmark in the motorcycling series. So there's an aggressive growth plans, and we're hoping, all of that, especially someone who is very good with the marketing turf, would come in and revamp the MotoGP. Two Circles is in advanced stage discussions to acquire the Spring Media Agency, and that's as it looks to scale up its broadcast rights distribution capabilities. Samsung Electronics is set to become the official TV partner of the National Football League in the UK and Ireland. The National Football League doesn't have to do with the EPL. It's American football.
Yeah.
It's rugby. Yeah. So
yeah.
just in case you don't know. All right. So the South African Premiership will remain on free-to-air television during the 2024-2025 season, and that's after a late sub-licensing deal was struck between the right holder, Souq Sports, and public broadcaster, the SABC, which is what we have been gunning for.
Yeah.
Let it move away from pay TV. And let's have
is there local league?
Well, they've got the facility, they've got the tech. So Souq Sports is more indigenous to them. Otherwise, most people who would have watched the local league would have had to pay. Yeah. That's the idea. But SABC reaching that deal with Souq Sports is a good one for them. So it means people can actually go watch SABC to see, the local games. All right, Galatasaray has refuted criticism of the club's new sponsorship deal with Merit King, and then the news making the rounds claim of the website ties to an illegal betting site. Oh, I'm sure that illegality would have put a strain on the business part of it. Yeah. I mean, that's not good.
It's not good. It's never. I mean, we always clamor for piracy and curbing piracy in the society. It's wrong. I mean, it exposes us to a lot of harmful, especially using your devices to log into this
very malicious
unverified sites. I mean, it's crazy, and we should really curb it. And I think the fight against piracy should be something that everybody join forces together and abolish, because it's really a menace. Because a lot of people are working hard to make this content out there, and then you are prioritizing it and you're making it your own, earning from something that you did not work for. So yeah, so the rightful owners of this content should receive revenue for it.
So let's get into the conversation of proliferation of betting sites in Nigeria, and also online streaming of European matches on free platforms. I mean, this is the thing now. This is the trend now. And do you think that companies that have paid huge sum of money to get this are not losing out on it? And I hear there's some plans to actually nip in the bud. You see some sites will open, and for a couple of minutes it's down. There are efforts to, but then they keep springing up. Do you think there's going to ever be an end?
Well, the internet is free to everyone. Everyone with a laptop that has an idea in programming or can come up with these sites, and but I just feel they should up their game in trying to clamp on this.
So, but you don't think that some of these free platforms have helped?
It has.
Some people have been able to
watch games and
follow.
Yeah, it has, but then it's harmful. It's harmful because the cycle is broken at some point. Yeah, because I'm an end user. I'm producing this for an end user to use. I'm an end user, or someone out there needs this content and they can't get it because you are prioritizing it, or I can't get the revenue for the work that I'm putting into this because you are, out there by making money off this thing illegally, and it's wrong, and they should clamp down on these things, harshly. I wouldn't say sentence, but then they should, a penalty has to be given out.
Well, this penalty we're about to take will be the last for the show.
Yeah.
Italian icon Salvatore Schillaci, the top scorer at the 1990 World Cup, has died at the age of 59. Schillaci, better known as Toto. I mean, if we call him Schillaci, it will work. He scored 6 goals to win the Golden Boot at the 1990 World Cup. I don't know if you were born then.
No.
And the World Cup was won on home soil. Italy lost in the semi-finals, but Schillaci was also awarded the Golden Ball as the best player and gained hero status. Schillaci was diagnosed with colon cancer in 2022, and he's been capped 16 times for his country, where he scored 7 goals, representing Italy's giant club Juventus, and as well as Inter Milan, after beginning his club career at Messina. Well, from here, it's Souq Sports, Souq News Television, commiserate with the Italian Football Federation, and of course the family of the legend.
Well, our hearts and prayers are with the family at this trying moment. I mean, no one likes to lose, a relative, or it's sad, and no one is expected to live here forever. So it's sad to see that this great legend is leaving us. But
I mean, there's a lot that could, 59, not so old. There's a lot that he could have contributed.
A lot.
Administratively, on the pitch, otherwise, mentorship.
Well, it's just sad that cancer had to, grapple him. But then, sad. I'm losing words really to describing a legend that I did not watch actually. But it's sad to see him go. Sad to see him go.
Well, we also have to go, but not the great beyond. We have to take a moment away from the camera because we just have to wrap things up right here and look forward to the next edition of the show when we'll be coming back like bang, dang. Thank you so much, Charlie Montero.
Yep.
And of course, when we get to come back, we'll bring up to speed with the Champions League results and tell you how the weekend is going to be right here on Souq Sports. I don't know if you have any other thing to say.
Nope. Top Cat has said it all.
Yep.
It's time for us to go. It's sad that we're going to be leaving you. I still remain Charlie Montero. See you on Friday.
Until we come again, do stay tuned. We've got a beautiful programming lined up for you. So you watch, enjoy, and make sure you share. Check out our social media platforms, Facebook, X. I mean, Twitter is still on my mind. Instagram, TikTok, whatever. I mean, you can find us anywhere. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Would want to also have you engage us. We'll be looking forward to your feedback on how to be better. And just in case you want to sponsor, you want to be a part of it, you want to contribute in any way, well, we're looking forward to those kind of arrangements and partnership. As usual, the Top Cat will be leaving, but I'm not going away. Continued engagement on social media. And many thanks to everyone who has ensured that you can receive us crisp, loud, and clear. Bye for now.